Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Lean Publishing Tip of the Day live stream. Today I'm going to be talking about our organization memberships, which are something we introduced a while ago, and we're hoping to take off. It's a very cool new thing that I'll explain starting at the 2-minute mark of this video. I like to record these live just because it's a good way of testing your knowledge and the usability of your own platform. But also because there are people who sort of jump on live to watch. It's a good thing to do, middle of the afternoon or maybe early evening, wherever you are. Maybe spend 10 or 15 minutes a day if you're a self-published author and you're looking for tips and tricks and just sort of motivation and stuff like that. That's what these videos are for. But most people watch the recording. That's what these are also there for. It's kind of like a kind of video help center kind of thing that you can think about it, or video explanation of every page on Leanpub. That you can find. There's also an accompanying, so of course the main place to find these recordings is on our YouTube channel at Leanpub. If you like watching these videos, book launch videos, learning podcast interviews, full-length interviews, learning about new authors and books and things they write about from all around the world, then please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, as you know, the reason everybody always says please subscribe is because if you're part of the community and you join, that actually increases your own influence and presence everywhere as well if you're a Leanpub author and you've got a launch video or something like that, or you're planning or hoping to have one on our YouTube channel. So please subscribe and all that kind of stuff. And then, follow us on social media, wherever you're watching this. There's also always an accompanying blog post for each of these videos. You can find that on our blog at leanpub.com/blog. And for long-time watchers or listeners, you'll notice I have a new friend here. I'm between two plants, and I've got a new one on the wall there. So if you have any suggestions, by the way, for any videos or anything like that, please reach out to us at hello@leanpub.com. And so with all that said, let me do my little countdown. 3, 2, 1. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 2-minute mark of this Lean Publishing Tip of the Day live stream. Today, I'm going to be talking about our organization memberships. So if you're familiar with Leanpub, if you've written a book and published it on Leanpub, etc., you'll know that we have lots of books that are particularly attractive to software developers, programmers, technology people, etc., stuff like that. We have lots of business books. We have lots of books in what's called personal transformation. I don't think anyone actually likes that term, but that's the term. Lots of productivity books, things like that, business strategy, all kinds of books along those lines, very sophisticated, like cloud computing, stuff like that. And lately, very cutting edge books on AI and how that affects everything from if you've got a software developer on your team, or you've got a software architect. If you're in a huge enterprise, Romano Roth's Cybernetic Enterprises is a great example I can think of a book that's really kind of like really on the edge of a fast changing thing. And so basically, these books are particularly attractive to people who are working in companies, working as managers in companies, as leaders of companies, and as workers in companies. It's we for a long time we've had multiple copy purchases have been possible. Where you can buy multiple copies. You can buy we've had people buy I think over 1,000 copies of a book in one purchase, and then what you do is you get a way to email them. We have a form that you can email them. You can actually upload a CSV of email addresses and sort of send that. So we've got bulk purchase options for teams and organizations and stuff like that. We've also had team packages and things like that where you can an author can initiate this and they can you can essentially get a bulk discount for buying 5, 10, 15, 20 copies of a book. We've also for a long time had the policy that what you can do is you can just take the pricing slider and slide it to the top, or type in a huge amount, and then that's the multiple of copies, and you can download a Leanpub ebook, and you can just distribute the ebook file to the people on your team. Obviously, with the instruction, don't steal this or spread it around to people who haven't paid for it. But we've always been very open to teams buying Leanpub books. And so what we did not too long ago. Was we created a feature that I'm just going to share here, where what people can do is they can get organization memberships on Leanpub. So organization memberships, if you're familiar with kind of like any sort of tool like Slack or something like that, where you can have seats and team members and stuff like that, this is basically along those lines. And what it's meant to do basically is kind of streamline things, so you don't have to like have your team desperately come up to you and come, oh no, we need 100 copies of this latest Leanpub book on AI and cloud computing or something like that, and then you've got to head off and do it yourself, buy it for them, or let them all kind of individually buy things on their their corporate credit card, which is great and a good model and stuff like that. But can be more complicated. What you can do here with our organization memberships is that you can actually buy, and there's the monthly charges and stuff like that. But basically, what you could do is you can use the concept that we introduced a few months ago of credits, book credits. So essentially, you do a kind of bulk purchase of book credits, and then people on your team can use those credits in the account to sign into Leanpub, and then just use those credits that you bought for them to get books. So this is a way of profoundly sort of like being more efficient. If your people in your company have been buying Leanpub books, get an organization account, give them their membership or their seat, and then they can get all the benefits of whatever plan that you've bought for them without you having to micromanage or anything like that. So if they're like, if there's something cutting edge going on, and there's a new book about it on Leanpub, they don't need to go through any permission process. If they worry about accounting or anything like that, they can just buy the book on Leanpub and start reading it and be, the cutting edge, kind of, team member that you need them to be. You can find this page on leanpub.com/organizations. And then you can just choose your plan. The team plan includes up to 5 seats and 3 book credits every month. So these credits get updated every month. This is a sort of way of working that sort of book subscription services have. That's we didn't reinvent the wheel here or anything like that. And you also get with each team member, each seat comes with a free with membership reader account, basically, which means that we've got on the Leanpub store. If you're not familiar with it, if you go to the store, you go to books, and you go to free with membership, we actually have close to a couple of thousand books that people can just get for free if they have one of these memberships. So that's a really amazing deal. These books are being added to this all the time. It's a really great way if people have professional development hours, or you've just been encouraging them to do more sort of deep learning to make them better at doing what they do. This is a really great deal. So everybody who gets a seat gets this free with membership access. And then you can just see that the plans kind of ladder up. The 5 seats for the team, what we call team group, is 10 seats for book credits and a course credit, and then department is even bigger. Courses, of course, Leanpub, and if you're familiar with us, we have worked primarily understood to be a bookstore for ebooks, but we actually also have online courses that people can take, and they can get a PDF certificate and stuff like that. So if there's something that there's a Leanpub course for that you'd really like your employee to, like an employee, team member, an employee, or yourself to understand, you can take that course on Leanpub. You read it, you take quizzes, you get graded, you get a certificate at the end, stuff like that. And in addition to having these monthly plans, we also have annual plans. And these are obviously a little more expensive, but in the single price point, but cheaper than just sort of paying every month. So you can get one of these plans, and you can also get a custom plan. You're like, no, I want my team to be getting 20 book credits a month, stuff like that. So you can change the numbers here. This is the number of seats, etc. as well. And so yeah. So, and you can see that these numbers update based on your sort of setting your custom settings down here, which is just kind of classic, kind of clever Leanpub thing to do. Yeah, so that's our organization memberships, where basically you can sort of sign up teams to a kind of subscription to Leanpub books. It's one way of looking at it. It's a way of unlocking your team to sort of learn the latest things without having to go through a bunch of admin and stuff like that. We're really proud of this feature and this new opportunity for people to read Leanpub books. One of the reasons, I think, just to sort of opine that this kind of thing is so important is, and we're because Leanpub books can be self-published and they can be updated anytime. We are sort of like a kind of repository of cutting-edge thinking on AI. By very smart people. And it's one thing that's becoming clear in this new world that we live in, is that being smart and knowledgeable is more important than ever. Being up to date in your knowledge is more important than ever. So it actually means, although there's the kind of frenetic pace that all of us who are using these AI tools are kind of familiar with, the guilt for not using it 24/7 and having 10 instances going and stuff like that. Actually, what really understanding things in a theoretical level is actually going to be more important than ever before for competitiveness and productivity with these tools. And what that means is actually like taking time to think. Is actually more important than ever, because your productivity is multiplied dozens of times, much more because of the powerful tools that you have. But if you don't have a good theory of what you're doing, and how the tools work and what they can do, then you're just you'll be able to do all kinds of cool things, make all kinds of cool features, but are you actually really competing? Are you actually really being productive compared to other people, stuff like that, or compared to what you could do if you had a deeper theoretical understanding of things? It's kind of like the difference between, before the Enlightenment, there was lots of sophisticated technology, but it was all based on, thousands of years of trial and error and stuff like that. It was when people started developing theories, like gravity and stuff like that. Architects could build amazing things like the Roman Colosseum without knowing what gravity was. But once we understood things like that, we could build rocket ships. Basically, would be the sort of, most immediate image that comes to mind. So really having a theoretical understanding of AI and technology and product development and stuff like that is more important than ever, which is why reading books about these things by very smart people is more important than ever. And that's why we think these organization memberships for teams and companies are more important than ever. So with all that said, thank you very much, everyone, for watching this live stream today, or watching the recording, if that's what you've done. Please like and subscribe wherever you found us. And if you have anything you'd like me to talk about, please just reach out on social media or email. Thanks a lot.